Hi, this is Jonathan Weinberg, and this is Drawing with Fountain Pens. Today I'm just going to do a quick little review of a new product, at least it's new to me, which is the Kaweco Converter with this little folding part. Um, if you use one of Kaweco's sports, one of their smaller pens or pocket pens, they make a converter that works with it, but that converter doesn't fit in their smallest and in many ways their cutest pen, which is the Liliput. But they have come out with a solution which has this little folding arm. So you can use it with a Liliput, and it actually does work. And I think it's kind of interesting. Now, I have to say, though, that the original portable converter, that Kaweco makes, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's kind of hard to use. It gets sort of stuck in here. And the other thing I have to say about it is that it holds very little ink, or it holds about as much ink as, I think, a little less ink than a typical standard international cartridge. And one of the things you can do is, if you want to use your own ink in a Kaweco, is just to get an empty cartridge and fill it with ink. And actually that's going to give you a little bit more ink than you will get when you try to use this to fill this up. So it's a bit awkward to use this. It does work, but it won't work in the Liliput because when it's all the way open, it's too long. So what they did is they made it have a little folding arm. And this thing is so tiny, I hope you can see this, is that when you pull it out, this little piece bends out and it becomes similar in size to the original tiny little converter, and then you can pull it in and out. But you know, it's very awkward. It's not the easiest thing to do, and you know, you may be tempted to use a needle to fill this up too. So I don't know what people think. I was able to get it to work. It's not expensive. For example, there's a place, Pen Boutique and Jet Pens. They have it for $8, so that's very affordable. But the question is, does one want to really fiddle with this? Do you want to use international cartridge, or do you want to fill cartridges that are blank? I actually think that's probably the best way to go. But this is a cool thing. I am going to test it out. And I have to say the other thing, I mean, I've reviewed this pen before, but I really like the Liliput because it's so cute. It comes in different colors. It posts very well because it's a screw-on posting, although it's not fast because you have to screw it on and off. And it becomes a fairly large pen, and it's pretty, and it's made out of shiny metal, and it comes in, as I say, different finishes, and I really like it as a little pen. I think it's very elegant. The clip, like in a lot of the Kaweco portables, is an extra that you have to buy. It's like $7. It's not very much. This pen runs the range in prices. I've seen it around $50, and it depends on the finish, how much it is. And it writes like all Kaweco pens quite nicely. Here it is in the pen. You can see folded, so it all works. And there's something kind of satisfying about the fact that, you know, you can have a converter in it, and it makes it, the whole thing, like a tiny little package. So I kind of enjoy that, even though I have to say, in terms of functionality, unless you have really tiny little fingers, it's not the easiest thing to fiddle with. I think in many ways a pen like this works best with cartridges. So here it is, the Kaweco Liliput. This is a medium. I'm using a new ink for me. This is Diamine Sepia. And it now has the new foldable converter in it, which works just as you would think. Now the thing about this pen, again, I love the way it looks. It's, for my fat hands, it's a bit thin, and in this finish, and I think all of the finishes are metal, it's a bit slippery, so it's not the most comfortable pen. This is not the pen that I would use for long writing periods. I much prefer actually their pen that uses a 6-inch nib, the Supra. It's more expensive, and it actually is interesting because it has a part that you can make it longer if you want. I don't actually use, but I find that to be a better pen for my uses. So if you have $8 to spend, I guess you have to pay shipping, and you want a converter for this pen, it now is available. If you found this video useful, please subscribe and give it a like. It doesn't cost you any money to subscribe, and it's a great way to support the channel.